I'm not using
All right.
it well.
Well, if you don't need it so much, who cares?
Good morning, everybody. You know, I love it when people say something. We need to say something before we begin. Didn't we just begin? So Stephen is going to start with a really interesting and important announcement. So Stephen, come on up. Need a microphone?
No, I already got myself laved up. I got a mic. Hey, everybody. So I'm Stephen Dubois. I'm the head of IT, and I also handle the chapel's AV equipment as well. I'm sorry. I know I'm coming in a little hot right now. Let me step aside right over here. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is, I have a couple of assistive listening devices for our friends who are deaf or hard of hearing. We have assistive listening devices in the chapel. You just ask for them. They're dead simple. You just take the earbud, and the plug for the earbud. You plug it in. There's a switch on the top, a roller switch. You turn it on. You stick the earbud in your ear and you're hearing the overhead sound. I can hear myself talking in my ear right now. Additionally, we have one that doesn't even require you to play with new equipment. If you have a hearing aid with a T-loop in it, all you need to do is sit in this empty front row and turn your T-loop on, and you will get broadcast down from a wire up here straight to your head. And that will play my voice right in your ears. Yeah. Additionally, I'm not going to say their name or volunteer them because I haven't spoken with them, but I do know there is somebody who we have recently hired on who is an audiologist formerly who might possibly be able to help people. So I'll be talking with them about that. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys.
Toby.
Oh,
Round of applause for him. And a little extra treat.
oh my gosh. These are great. I love them. Have a good afternoon, guys.
There's a lot more where that came from.
There are a
Thank
lot
you.
more where those came from. Yeah. So we have begun, kind of. And it's
All right.
appropriate now to hear from Pastor Leslie that set us in the right direction.
Good morning. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, as we prepare for the season of gratitude, we come before you with grateful hearts. You have blessed each one here in the ways that have changed our lives for the better. Be with us as we go about our work of the hearthstone, that our work is a reflection of your goodness. We pray today for peace in our world. Amen.
Thank you. All right, we'll begin with, as we always do, Meg reporting our minutes.
Is it on?
Yep.
Okay. I would like to ask for approval of the minutes of the last assembly meeting, to which I don't seem to have any corrections. If anybody remembers them, fine, but otherwise, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last assembly meeting? Thank you. A second?
All in favor?
Thank you.
You know, it's pretty incredible. She speaks for about 30 seconds, but she spends about 3 hours on the minutes each week. Thank you very much, Meg. Now, the treasurer's report, and you may notice that Allison is not here. She's off doing something really fun. Well, this is fun too, but it's whatever she's doing is much more fun. So here's the treasurer's report. In the last month, the treasury spent $97.03 on books. The current balance is $2,249.68.
Say that again.
Oh, well, I'll hand you the numbers later. Okay. Some people want to know about the See's candy sale, which concluded yesterday. I'm happy to say we made a fair amount of money for the Residents' Council. The exact number has not yet been determined because it's a headache to do the math. And I was getting ready for this, so we'll let you know later, but we made some money. All right? Thank you all for participating. I will say this that is really kind of cool. The bottom of the sheet was you could donate. Last time we had $800 was donated. this time more than $1,000 in donations. So thank you all. Now, speaking of what we do to help the Residents' Council, think about what we do for, at the end of the year, our hourly staff. Carolyn Leon is the one who's been leading the charge for the Employee Appreciation Fund, and she has a special presentation for this morning. Carolyn?
Well, friends, we've arrived at the big final month for giving to the Employee Appreciation Fund. My inspirational vignette for this month is a trapeze artist. And Frank has come up with 4 slides to illustrate what I'm going to say. But there requires a little work on your part, because you must make a mind shift. I'm not talking about how you can become an artist flying through the air, but I'm talking rather about your relationship to money, to your financial resources. So each of these slides is to be interpreted in that way. I've heard that there are only 4 basic moves that a trapeze artist needs to make. The first one is holding on. I hope you can see all 3 screens. You see the 2 of them holding on. You know, it's often hard to give away money because a fear voice within us raises our anxiety level that says, I may need it all for the future. So, and plus we get a lot of ads, what you need to buy, this and that and so on. But a fear, anxiety level tells us, let's hang on to it. But the next stage is letting go. Letting go. Can you see her there? I like those socks. Letting go symbolizes that I must change my relationship to money and the false promises of security which it brings. And I need to trust the joy that comes from giving away some of it for the benefit of others in our community, in this case. So going from hanging on to letting go. Okay, the third stage is waiting. I like this slide. You know, I didn't come dressed today in a fancy trapeze sleek outfit. These people are dressed in street clothes. High heels, a tie on the fellow. Can you imagine that? And of course, there's not just one person there. There's another person there too, waiting to do the catching. You know, let's face it, there's a lot of waiting in life. And this gesture I sort of think of like this. There's waiting on the daily, more mundane level, waiting in traffic, waiting for my meal to be served, waiting to get something in the mail from a loved one that we're expecting. A lot of daily situations, but they're more profound, longer range waiting questions. How long will I live? Will I be sick or well during my long waiting period? Let's face it, life is lived a lot in the waiting room. Is it a feeling of expectation or of anxiety? Do I feel alone, or am I in a community of other caring people? The fourth move is being caught. I love this little fellow. Can you see the expression on this child's face? He's even managing to get a thumbs up gesture. The feeling of being caught probably in the long run has something to do with your spiritual approach to life, also maybe with your life experiences so far. But let's think about the ways every day we are being caught here at the Hearthstone. One of the questions I get often, we know we're talking about hourly, non-salaried workers, but people say, who are those workers? And based on the statistics last year where I was able to put them into categories, I'm just going to list for you all the different categories of hourly non-salaried people, and I would say it's probably the majority of people that you come in contact with. A big group, of course, is dining services, and that's not just your favorite waiter in the dining room, it's all the people in the kitchen who are probably standing on their feet hours on end, from the people who chop to cook to the people, and I know of some in there who've been dishwashers for year after year. Then there's the baker, and then there's the dining rooms in the other areas. Dining comprises a great big area. Another huge area has to do with all our licensed areas. And if you've ever been in the health center, in assisted living, memory care, whatever, it takes a lot of help to service all of those areas. How about cleaning? Does your room get cleaned? And laundry that's done downstairs? How about maintenance when you call that number to have someone fix something? How about the front desk people that we say all the time, call the front desk, call the front desk? Life enrichment people who do a variety of duties. And then there are also a few from renovation, transportation, areas of our whole business operation. I just want to just make that is for these employees need to be Hearthstone employees. If they're Consanus employees or Sodexo employees, they're not Hearthstone employees per se, and then their companies take care of them at Christmas time. That's why I didn't mention, for instance, exercise people. But remember one more thing about being caught. We live in a CCRC community. Can all you tell me what that stands for? Care, Current Community. And this means it is a very important part of our safety net of being caught if it's necessary. Now, just to finish, just with a few more practical questions that I get asked. What's the total amount given so far? So far, and this is all not added up all the time, the last figure I got was around $51,000. We know last year that we gave $124,000, so we've got a long ways to go in this month. That's why this month is exciting. But you know, alone, I can't accomplish a lot, but altogether, it's amazing what we can accomplish. And I actually like it when people during this month say to me, how are we doing? I don't know. I won't know till the end. But I like the pronoun we. How are we doing? Not how are you doing, but how are we doing? Then I get asked, what's the average size given? I have no idea. I don't know what you turn in. Only someone in accounting handles your check, cash, or whatever it is. But I can just give you an example. If you want to give $1 a day, that would be $365. If there are 2 people in your apartment and you double it, that would be $730. That's just an example, and you can go any place from there, depending upon what's right for you. Is it tax deductible? No, because this is a tip for services given. We all know from the IRS, they send us a letter saying no goods and services were received for this gift. This is not charity. This is a tip given for services rendered. You've all received the bright yellow form in your box and the envelope. Please turn them in well before noon of December 1st. Okay, there's a lot of tabulating that needs to be done. Anything that comes in after that will go on next year's gift, not this year's. In summary, I want to encourage you to let go of whatever is the right amount for you and experience the joy of our hourly workers. Any questions, you can come up to me afterwards. Thank you.
So Carolyn has done a beautiful job of explaining how this all works, who gets it. For just a minute, let's hear from the other side, and that is stories about a couple of people who have received the money. All right? So, Karen Kelly, I couldn't remember Karen's last name. Karen Kelly, the head of HR, is going to come up and tell us a little bit about a couple of people. There you are. Come on up.
I can't tell you how happy that made me. Thank you, Frank. My last name's Kylie. It's okay. It's okay. Everybody skips the I because it's buried in the middle. It's fine. In my role, I have the opportunity to speak to a lot of our employees. They aren't always happy to hear that HR wants to talk to them, but on a few occasions they are. And on a lot of those occasions, this fund comes up. They talk to me about the impact it has on their lives, about the appreciation that they feel from the residents. And just yesterday, I was speaking to a few people about this specifically. The thing that struck me the most was one of them said, you know, I came to work at the Hearthstone for a job, but what I found was a family. And they said this to me. And part of that explanation, they said that what you folks give them at this time of the year is a huge part of that. It enriches their lives, and it makes them know how much you truly appreciate the work that they do for you. Another one of our employees was telling me that this gift from all of you is how they buy their Christmas presents each year for their family. This is their Christmas fund. This is what they are able to provide joy and happiness to their entire family as a result of your kindness. And they also stated that they tell their families, here's your Christmas gifts from me and from the Hearthstone. And that was the one that really got me for sure when I spoke to them. But these are not one-offs. These are stories that come to me frequently throughout the year. And for you folks to know how much this truly means to our employees is important. It's not just an expectation that they have by any means. They appreciate it each and every time it happens for them. So on behalf of our employees, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the school.
Yeah, sure. Karen Kiley. I'm sorry, as a person who lived half my life as Frank Grief.
Take your mask off, Frank.
How I could, doesn't have anything to do with the spelling, no. Wow. Okay, so now we move on to hearing from management. And of course, our first speaker is the CEO, Reggie Mullis.
Good morning, everybody. It's so nice to see all of you. In my opinion, I think this group grows just a little bit every month. So I give him a lot of hassle about the fact that there is a thing called Frank Grief. It happens in my office every Wednesday morning. But to remind all of you, especially floor chairs, but the resident assembly system works well, is probably working better than it ever has because of the efforts of you communicating with your individual floor chairs, those floor chairs communicating as a council to our leadership team, and then the weekly meetings I have with Frank and Georgia to sort of make sure we're listening and that we're responding as best we can. So I have just a couple of things I want to share with you, mostly as a matter of update. That looks like a lot, doesn't it? It's not. So there's been a couple of questions about the lower level remodel, refresh that we talked about. That is officially on hold until next year. So we have a lot of work still to do before we can even start down there. But I think many of us see that lower level as an outstanding opportunity to offer more to our residents, more things to do, another place to grab, a mid-morning snack, to have events like ping pong and exercise and movie nights and those kinds of things. So, and when I say movie nights, I'm specifically talking about the Academy Award celebration. So, that'll should happen next year, but don't hold me to that. I'm telling you, it is on hold until then. Hopefully all of you received a survey. We are trying to now do this annually. Those went out early this month. I just want to first thank everybody that has completed one and sent it back. We are watching those surveys for anything you tell us that is time sensitive. Right? So if you told us something that is pressing or urgent, we're monitoring that, but we're actually not tabulating the results of the survey. We won't do that until after, probably after Thanksgiving. You have until the 21st. When is that? Is that next Friday? Sorry, I can't keep up with time and date, but Tuesday. Oh yeah, 2 weeks from yesterday. That's it. Okay, so if you haven't done that, please get that survey done. If you're having any trouble with the survey, it was sent to you via email. You may have also gotten a text. If you don't do either of those two things, you may get a phone call from the survey company. But our team is also happy to help anyone facilitate your response to that survey. COVID. I just want to say thank you to all of you that multiple times had to endure yet another COVID test. The process, which was dictated to us by the agencies that we're responsible to, I believe was very successful. There'll be a COVID update likely tomorrow. We have a staff COVID meeting on Thursday afternoon. So once that meeting is done, we'll update you. But we haven't, I'm looking at Hallie to make sure she does this. We've not had any new cases since the last announcement. So yeah, you can clap at that because it's all of you doing what you're doing right now, wearing this, being smart, being sensible. I will tell you just from my level, sort of looking down at the cases that did come to us, and this is not meant to offend or disparage anyone, but we can always seem to take it back to travel. Either somebody went somewhere, somebody had dinner with someone that just got back from somewhere. And so airplanes, public transportation, even Uber rides can be a factor in that process. But thank you all for enduring that and helping us satisfy the reporting agencies that we are in control of this. I have just a quick report. Jill is not here today. I just want to give you a couple of updates from I know everybody always asks, how are we doing? And one of the best measures of that is our occupancy and our sales per se. So we measure occupancy two different ways, as a reminder. One is the actual occupancy. That is in in an independent living, we have 163 apartments right now. And so we look at what percent of those are earning revenue. That's all of you paying your rent. Right now, that is 87.6%. It's not a bad number considering how many apartments that we have what I call offline, where we are making plans to remodel, combine apartments, et cetera. from Jill's perspective, in terms of how well she does her job, we measure how many of those ready to go, ready to rent apartments are still vacant. And that generates a sales occupancy of basically 97%. So we don't sit on them when they're finished. And right now, really the two or three we have are smaller apartments, mostly in this building. I think I have that list there. 2 studios in this building that are not rented. There are 2 one-bedrooms in this building that are currently not rented, that are finished and ready to go, and one bedroom in Cove East. Everything else that you might walk past and go, well, there's nobody living there. Trust me, it is in the process of most likely becoming either fully remodeled or a larger apartment. The last thing from her is we've had 4 move-ins since October the 1st. And she did it by room numbers rather than names, but 1002, that's the 10th floor. And then that's in Lakeside 621, Lakeside 721, and Lakeside 922. And I'm so pleased that the new folks that moved into 922 2 days ago, less than 48 hours ago, they're in this meeting. So I'm not going to point them out or embarrass them. Feel free to go knock on their door. Sorry. Not right after the meeting, but yeah. Or ask anyone here that might know them to point them out. But we're very happy to have them in the community, as we are all of the recent move-ins and all of you. I just want to point out that 922 was the first time that we have done a remodel here with our own team. Gary Robertson and his, now I think he's up to 4 people on his team. We have a licensed electrician getting ready to join us next month. I'm really excited about that. That will help save us both in terms of our renovation work, but also in terms of supporting maintenance. Because if you've ever met him, there's a guy that works for Sequoia Electric named Al. We call him Big Al. He's not big, he's really tall, and you may have met him. And my biggest fear is that Al is going to retire before we get something else in place. So hiring an electrician is one step more towards safety, but also helps Gary in terms of the remodels that we do. The last thing, make sure I've done them all. The last thing I want to talk to you about is it's that time of year again where we are going to be increasing our rates. Just to give you an update of where we are on the process and what you can expect. We have completed our competitive analysis. That's the first thing we do. We get updated numbers from a variety of local CCRCs that do the same thing essentially we do. We adjust in terms of their pricing, and we set or reset our rates to new people coming in, to market rates is what they're called. We've done that. We've set our new prices for next year for new residents. We then take those rates and we put them into another analysis to take a look at any variance between what all of you pay today, and we do this room by room, between what you pay today and what the room would generate if you moved out. We don't want anyone to move out. We hope nobody ever moves out, but it's how we determine essentially how we're holding in the marketplace. I don't yet have those percentages. If you remember last year, the average percent variance between what a resident pays and what we were reselling the rooms for was around 25%. That's one of the reasons we had a little heavier increase last year for residents, and thank you all for bearing that. And I know you're all thinking, what choice did I have? But I hope you can also see that we are trying to do everything we can for all of you in terms of the things you need, the things you want, to help maintain your satisfaction with our operation. Do we get it right 100% of the time? Absolutely not. But we try. We really try, and we prioritize. And working with Frank and the council and the leadership team and all the floor chairs and all of you, we look at what's hot, what's important, what needs to happen sooner than later. So all that to say is we should know this variance amount by early next week. We have a board meeting on Thursday. So on Thursday, I will make a recommendation to the board with regard to what percentage increases will take place. I don't yet know the number. I would tell you if I did. I don't know, and I need the board's endorsement before I come to all of you and say this is what's happening. I will tell you, for some of you that were concerned last year about what appeared to be disparity, some people got 5%, some people got 10%, and some people were right in the middle at 7.5%. And that had to do with a process that I brought to the organization called market variance pricing. Quick understanding is you're in I'm gonna use round numbers. You're paying $3,000 a month. That room tomorrow would sell for $4,000. So you are 25% under market value. We never expected, nor do we anticipate, trying to raise people up to market rate. Some of you have lived here a long, long time, and I can't address the increases that have been done in the past to say whether or not they were appropriate, too much, too little, whatever the case may be. But I can tell you now that the plan, and this could change, but the plan is to do a flat rate increase to all residents for next year. That sort of removes that, what feels like unfairness. But I think one could make the argument that, no, it's fair that everybody gets closer to what their apartment is worth. But again, according to what the board will advise me on, we're likely going to do a flat rate. I don't yet know where that number is. I know the range, but I won't tell you that either because I don't want anybody to worry about it. The last piece is those letters go out December the 1st. You can expect those. And if we do a flat rate increase, everybody gets the same letter. It'll just have the amount. Well, I don't want you to wait for the letter. We've scheduled a meeting. We will announce this in our weekly announcements between now and then, but we are planning to bring everybody together, those that want to join, for kind of an overview of how we determine the amount of the increase from a budgeting standpoint, from a market standpoint, and always, always from a labor standpoint. If you don't know how much Seattle is raising the local minimum wage, I'm happy to tell you, not happy about it, but I'm happy to share with you that Seattle is raising January 1st the minimum wage rate 7.8%. That's at the core of what we do. About 65 to 70% of our expenses in this organization relate to labor. So when labor goes up that much, and granted, not everybody gets a 7.8% increase in pay. Everybody that is making minimum wage, and actually we pay more than minimum wage, but that all changes. That change, that amount shifts up through the organization, but as you get to the higher levels, the amount of the increase comes down. So we have to look at an average increase in our labor, factor that into the budget. Our CFO is here next week for the board meeting. He and I will really try to hammer out exactly what we feel like we need to do from a budgeting standpoint. So you can put that on your calendar. Did we set a time, Hallie? 10 a.m. on November 30th in here. I hope we have a big crowd. You can bring your questions in, and we will announce then what the interest rate percentage is, and then the next day you'll get a letter that confirms that. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your time, and I will yield. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. There you are. And now our Chief Health Officer, Rosie.
This box of tissue for me.
You're waiting to wait, right?
Something. It's mine now. I touched it. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I have a few areas to cover. I'll try not to take too much time, but I'm sure most of you heard that the Assisted Living and Memory Care was having their annual state survey. And so that ended yesterday evening, thank goodness. It did go well. The previous survey that we had was February 24th, 2022. So it's been nearly 2 years. I'll share overall observations, and then I will share potential areas of deficiency, which we will not have for about 10 days. Survey team has to take some of their findings back to their supervisor, and then they decide what's going to stick and what they're going to write up. So the overall observations, first things first, survey team observed that residents are happy, that they feel safe. They know who to go to when they have a problem or a concern. Some specific quotes that they took that from residents: that staff make me feel important. Staff listen to me. I feel cared for. And observations from the survey team that staff are very attentive to residents' needs. And the survey team was impressed that the staff really know all the residents well. Any staff members that surveyors stopped to interview and they spoke about a resident, we knew exactly who they were speaking of and what the concern might be, and offered additional information that a medical chart doesn't always share. So those are very good things, and we're all very proud of that. For food, no issues related to the kitchen inspection. So thank you, Morgan and Joe, for giving them the tour. They enjoyed it, and they enjoyed both of you. They did inspect the AL third floor servery, as well as the baker's area and the lakeside kitchen. A couple of residents in the resident group meeting. They meet as a group, and I'm not sure if you were able to attend. Eileen, I don't want to call you out, but you are the floor chair. They started with a large group, and they said that in a short period of time it dissipated. Residents weren't interested in speaking to them. After they made their positive comments, they just kind of started walking off. They said they started with the large group and only had 3 or 4 in the end. So that's a good thing. And so, yeah, that was funny. I haven't really heard that in the decades I've been doing this, but they just sort of walked off and disregarded them in a kind way. Now, potential areas of deficiency that we're looking at for HR staff record review. We were unable to provide 2 TB test results for a new hire employee. For one of them, we couldn't find the documentation. So some of you may be aware of the fact that we've had turnover in that department, and that department has moved from first floor to second floor, and probably a different floor in between. So we were unable to produce that record. And then there is an opportunity for a staff member, when they hire on with the Hearthstone or any new employer, they can use a TB test that is less than 1 year old. However, we are in a 2-state process here, 2-step process. And even with that previous record, we still need to do 1 step, not 2, and we did not do that. So areas to improve on, right? The second area was a service plan, and that's where when you come to us in the assisted living, we write a whole plan for you once we learn what it is you're coming to our care for. We have a resident that has a private caregiver, and while we indicated that in their record, we did not indicate a plan B if that caregiver doesn't come. Well, obviously, we provide all the care if the caregiver doesn't come, but it wasn't written, so we need to take care of that. And then finally, we have a pre-assessment. So before you come to assisted living or memory care, our assessment nurse sees you, interviews you, and any of your support team. When that is completed and you move in, on day 14 after you've moved in, we should review that record and sign off that we reviewed the record. We didn't have the signature. We missed that. And so those are our potential areas of deficiency. Now, not sure if I should give a COVID update because everything that Reggie shared is accurate, except for the fact that he doesn't know this, but right before I came in, I spoke with Emmy, and we will not be having the COVID committee today. There's no need for it, but I will share the tentative COVID outbreak end date is either November 15th or November 16th. It depends on Department of Health. We will have a conversation with them on the 15th. They'll let us know if we're good to be released. They'll ask us for additional information, or they may say, okay, we can release you tomorrow, which that's why we're looking at 15th or 16th. Okay, so continue, please, to wear your masks. Thank you all for wearing them. We really appreciate that. It does help. And for those of you that participated in our vaccine clinics, thank you all. Those of you that for some reason could not participate, we will be having future clinics, or we'll be sharing the contact and location information for Otterson's, and you can all take a drive there and take care of that. The next item and last item that I have is an update from our Resident Engagement Advocacy Committee. So we do not have a resident representative as a chair for that committee. So Pedro and I, we take turns managing that piece. So I asked him for a couple of bullet points because we started survey and assisted living, so I couldn't actually attend that meeting. But what was shared is that the residents have expressed support and provided positive feedback on the Hearthstone Connection newsletter. So we took some of the residents' advice in past meetings about integrating a few more areas of interest regarding Green Lake and other topics that are of interest. So we did take that under advisement, and that was, I think, accepted, and residents feel that it aligns with their interests at this point, and will continue to go in that direction. After meeting with Reggie a couple months ago to talk about, moving outside of Hearthstone's walls and into our Green Lake community, some of you may have lived here your entire lives. Others, maybe you've come here to retire and you don't know about the bike shop, or you don't know that you can rent a paddle boat across the street, or whatever else is going on in our community. Second thing are bus trips. They talked about enhancing those bus trips and including other stops and locations. So Eric, who is our main driver for these trips, attended the first 20 minutes of that meeting, and it was very fruitful. I think that you're going to see some different destinations. And then the Hearthstones, I don't want to take any thunder from anyone who's part of Hearthstones, or if you receive a report. But the Hearthstones have been rejuvenated. We have a person that comes in that directs the rehearsals for the Hearthstones every Wednesday here in the chapel. The goal is to have our weekly rehearsals, and then that would result in a quarterly program. So we're looking at a holiday musical performance. So hopefully we get all those rehearsals in, and we should be able to enjoy a wonderful musical program from the Hearthstones. And we'll see how this quarter goes, and then we'll hopefully move forward to a spring program and every season thereafter. So if you're interested in joining, I understand that I didn't validate this, but that the number of participants is growing. Not sure if that's true. It was already a group of 40, so if it's growing, that's fantastic. And lastly, here we have I'll just quote from Pedro. Their team is working on some exciting holiday programs, and they'll be sharing details to come. So look out for those. That's all I have. Are there any questions for me? Someone's clearing their throat. Are you getting ready to ask me something? Hi, Pam.
I'm wondering if there was a particular reason we did not have any independent living celebration for Halloween. This is the first year, and we've been here for 6 years,
Yeah.
that we did not have a Halloween party.
And so we didn't have an independent living, a Halloween party, a costume celebration, or a pumpkin carving contest. And I was wondering if there was a managerial reason for that, or if you could tell us why.
It was for independent living. Unfortunately, it was pure oversight. So there were lots of programs scheduled for the licensed areas, but the only thing that was offered was a holiday dessert, I understand, and dining, and that was really it. So deepest apologies. That's horrible. I hated to hear that. We spoke about it as a team of resident engagement, and they all feel horrible. So moving forward, they will have things planned. So again, apologies. I know we've had a costume contest in the past and other things. So rest assured, future Halloweens will not be missed.
Thank you.
But it was not a managerial decision. It was a pure oversight. Apologies. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to call your attention to the agenda. The next item on the agenda reads 3 courses from the dining room. So, last Thursday, there was an event that some of you may have missed. It was a happy hour. And what made it really fun and atypical was you can see up above, we had a piano player. Kathy came and played, and you know, she just plays all the old standards. A few people went up and stood next to the piano and sang, and it was really a wonderful event. And Reggie and many of the staff members came and joined us and whatnot. And at the end of it, Reggie said, well, this is really great. We should do something special, you know, when Kathy comes and whatnot. So happy to announce that there will be another happy hour on December 7th. Why December 7th? It's not in honor of Pearl Harbor. It's because that's the next meeting of the residents' council members, and it's the next time Kathy's coming to play. So now, to make sure that everybody can come and have additional fun, ta-da, a raffle will be held, and there will be prizes. All right? So just put that on your calendar. A little more excitement at the water's edge. So who makes all of that work? Well, that's the 3 courses from the dining room. So I'd like you to please welcome Dining Services General Manager Joe Barron, Executive Chef Morgan Clements. Did I say that even close?
Welsh, so Clements.
Clements, okay, fine, all right. And of course, Dining Room Manager John Eldridge. Come on up, gentlemen. Now, if you want, yeah, you can just come up and take turns at the podium.
So I think I know most of you, or many of you have met you in the dining room or in the hallways or something. But if you don't know me, my name is Joe Barron, the Director of Dining Services. And we have our front of the house manager and back of the house manager, or leader, I call them. I got to stand up here, I think it was about a year ago, when we were just transitioning in, Sodexo was. And I think at that time we talked about future plans and some ideas that we had, and maybe we even made some promises. And I think now we're a year in, we're feeling pretty good about where we are with dining services. We opened the bistro, we've really grabbed hold of the menu, and we like to call it world-class food. And we really try to do that every time. So hopefully you feel the same, but we've really strived both front of the house and back of the house for great service and great food. So I think both of these gentlemen want to say a couple of words, so.
Good morning, folks. First off, it's a pleasure to serve you all, and I hope you feel that from our staff as well. Speaking on service, I just want to remind everyone that all your comments are tracked. They're very important to let us know how we're doing as a team. I've always believed that the voice of one person carries about 10, because you'll have 9 folks that don't want to rock the boat or just say anything. every comment, if it's written in a box, if it's a phone call, we have a service, a computer system called Happy or Not, and some of you have seen it outside of the host podium. And we take those comments and we transfer them into that Happy or Not computer, and we use it as a tool to measure how you feel about dining. So real brief, keep the comments coming because they are important and they do make a difference. As we're approaching the holiday season, folks, just a couple notes about what our plans are for Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas. And again, I don't expect everyone to remember. You could give me a call. We will have postings on Touchtown in regards to what our plans are. But our Thanksgiving reservations are now open. We will have the main meal during the midday. So we'll still do takeouts. Reservations will be needed for the takeout hours from 11 to 11:30. And then again from 1 to 1:30. The evening meal will consist, as it has in the past, of just a self-serve buffet-style meal. And we'll continue that same pattern for Christmas Eve and Christmas. New Year's Day will be a regular Sunday mid-meal with service in the evening, and then New Year's Day will follow the same pattern as Thanksgiving. Very brief again, thank you. It is a pleasure to serve you all. And we're going to turn it over to Morgan here now. Thank you, folks.
My colleagues are very brief, but I might go on for a little bit until the shepherd's cane comes out and drags me off. Oh, so sorry. We've been here about a year, as Joe said, and I think in that year we've really learned a lot about what you all like and what you don't like. I've learned that you love coffee ice cream. I've learned that you like your green beans steamed and not roasted. I've learned you don't like too much frosting on your birthday cake. The dining committee council meetings that we have been just hugely, hugely informational. So I want to encourage everybody, when you go to your floor committee meetings, give all that information to your dining committee representatives, because that gets back to us and it really big time helps us calibrate those programs. The first couple meetings back in December and January were a little bit awkward. There was a lot of hesitancy. There was a lot of complaint. There was a lot of things that we needed to improve on. And over the course of this year, it's been really gratifying working with these two and the entire dining team. A lot of you know Johanna and Patty down at the bistro, and our dietitian, Rachel, just sort of calibrating the program, bringing in great products, bringing in great staff, working with that staff to make sure that they are taking that last 5% and bringing things up to the world-class standards that Joe mentioned. We've been through Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, 4th of July, Seafair Food Festival, Oktoberfest, our Hawaiian Luau celebration with the roasted pig. I'm looking forward to that one again next year. That was a great time. Hispanic Heritage Month, and now we're moving into the high holidays here with Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And, you know, the pandemic, not to dwell on evil times and bad memories, but it was very hard for food service. It was very difficult for people that were in food service. A lot of my colleagues were laid off at accounts, restaurants, corporate dining. There were huge cuts, and a lot of those people did not go back. A lot of those people made the decision that they wanted to do something else with their careers and that food service wasn't where their passion and their future lay. And the people that are left, those of us that are left in this business, are in it full bore. We are just in it with our hearts. And, you know, I love food, but I don't love eating it as much as I used to. What I love is cooking and serving that food. And when I look for a place to be a chef, I look for somewhere where I can serve a community. And this is the high point of that journey right here for me. Serving a community, serving and guiding a culture, getting to know people. I've cooked for corporations for a long time, and although a corporation pays my bills, we're here for you. We're here for you, and it's incredibly gratifying. I think about next month, you know, food service is sort of a what's the next thing, what's the next thing, what's the next thing? And if I think too much about next year, I might start getting stressed out. But we're getting really excited to increase offerings next year. We are looking at some new kitchen equipment so that our cooks can deliver you a really awesome, great product and do it easier for them as well. We're looking at new dishware. I know that those of you on the dining committee have seen some of our new options, and we're looking forward to bringing in some of those new dishware things. And then just going on with the community and the culture and the kindness that's here at the Hearthstone. It's been a great year. Thank you all.
I mean, it's really, it's just a wonderful staff that does one of the most important things for all of us here, and that's our food. So I think it's really important for us to continue to support and respect those folks who serve us so well. And you can do that, you know, by just simply saying thank you. All right? Let's give them another round of applause. So now we move on to the residents' council business. All right? Now watch what happens in this side of the room. You are excused. Thank you. Okay. Speaking of dining and all of that sort of thing, the couches, in what we are now calling the dining room lounge, or is that lounge? What do you call it? What'd you call it?
You're talking about the dining room committee, aren't you?
I'm talking about the dining room committee, which is chaired by our vice president, Georgia. Georgia, why don't you pick up the mic and give us a little update?
As chair, I'm happy to say that the committee is meeting for the first time November 13th, Monday at 2 o'clock. And I'm very proud to say that we have 8 committed committee members who have volunteered their expertise. So you'll be hearing from us soon. And should you have anything to offer me, don't hesitate. You never know what's going to happen in a meeting.
Thank you. A couple other quick things before we get to the floor and chair and building things. Remember we worked on those emergency contact forms where each floor, if you chose to do so, can you, as a resident, you can say, okay, here's the floor chair. If my newspapers don't get picked up or I seem to have disappeared, here's who you can call to find out what happened. So we've done that. We've sent them out, and unfortunately, not many people have turned them in. So you have an option. You don't have to do it. You know, don't do it if you don't want to. But if you do, please don't forget to do it so that we have up-to-date information for each of the floors. Another thing that's really kind of interesting that came out in our last resident, the floor chairs and whatnot, is a scam. We all are aware of the scams that are going on. Well, a particular one that happened here that I want to mention that involved our Hearthstone in-house phone system. So resident 1 gets this phone call on their house phone. Hi, this is your grandson, Jack. Whatever, I just want to make it anonymous. I have only 3 minutes and I need some help. Even sounded like the grandson. So the person asked, well, what's the password? The person responded, I forgot. Well, now you could think over time you could forget a password. However, the day before, they'd had a family meeting and it decided on the password. Yeah, how do you forget it overnight? So, sorry, no, click. So that's one instance. Here's the other one, this I really like. 3 calls to the in-house phone. Hi, this is your grandson and I need some help. 3 different times. The response, gee, that's strange, I don't have any children. So I just passed that along to let you know that we hear about scams all the time. Well, they can happen here. I mean, because when we first discussed this, it was kind of like, wow, how'd they get our phone number here? And in particular, in the one case, how'd they get the grandson's name? Well, you know, you just Google all kinds of stuff and that can happen. One person did send me an email suggesting that one of the things that we need to think about is when we get the new little book, that you don't just throw the old one away. You can tear it into bits and pieces and recycle it, or on the lower level, down below, is a shredding box. You just throw it in there and it will be shredded. But it's kind of protect that information. So that's an important thing. Do you ever feel like maybe we're living in a dorm? Those of us who are in this building?
Yes.
Well, we have a dorm type problem on the 10th floor in our community refrigerator. Remember the sign, clean out the damn refrigerator? Well, here we are. I went up and looked the other night. There's stuff up there that's been there, I think, since the 70s. There's some bread that's never, been made forever. So the request is that between now and the end of the month, if you have something in the 10th floor freezer in particular, the refrigerator is fine, but the freezer's got a bunch of stuff. Please go up and mark it, this is mine, and a date on it, or it'll be gone by the 1st of December. Okay? So, we had for a while, every Wednesday, lunch with Reggie. And it was pretty well attended, but it's kind of just maybe people forgot about it, whatnot. I just want to let you know that if you'd like to have lunch with Reggie on a Wednesday at noon, and Reggie pays, so those of you who are on one meal, doesn't cost you. All you need to do is let Hallie know, and it'll get scheduled. Okay? So let's just remember that. And then the other thing to remember, rate increases were all, I'm sure we'll get an email about it, but on November 30th at 10 in this room, they will be explaining how that's all done. Okay, so now committee reports. Penny, after what the Three Musketeers said, you still have more to add? Okay, come on up. And Penny, would you come up? I put an X on the floor there. If you stand on the mark, here you go. Here's a microphone.
Thank you. I thought that the three folks that were here were going to steal my thunder, and I would only give you a drizzle, but it'll be a moderate rain on the report today. Here are some highlights from the November Dining Committee meeting. The Happy Kiosk and comment form results remain in the low 80s. However, the goal is to be consistently in the 90s. And they are working hard to raise that level. And I want to urge you again, an email, a telephone call, writing down the form or marking the Happy Kiosk. Please do that. Do not be afraid. You can include your name or you can leave it anonymously. They do take things seriously. And I think we've seen remarkable response from the team on improving things that we complain about and keeping those things that we're happy about. Filming of the virtual kitchen tour has begun. The process involves a series of short videos to introduce team members and show working spaces and equipment. Hopefully, the filming and editing will be complete by the end of November, and information will be distributed on how residents and staff can view it. And I'm sure the film committee will have a presentation of that for one of their special days. Just kidding, but maybe not. Chef Morgan reminded folks that the main menu and the left side of the menu items can be hacked, also known as mix and match. Do not be afraid to mix and match. Tonight there is, I think, chicken teriyaki. Well, you can order salmon from the left side with teriyaki sauce. There are a lot of people that don't realize that. So please, when you're looking at the menu, create your own meal. Last week, my husband Joe ordered a Caesar salad to go and a side of steak. Brought it back, we sliced the steak, he put it on top of the Caesar salad. It was great. So that's a reminder, and I probably will remind you every month. Regarding special meals, I think Chef Morgan explained that, so I won't repeat that. And information about the tableware that he talked about. 2 sets have been selected to replace the current set. Each resident will have an opportunity to view them and vote on their preferences. So look for those. And last but not least, the bistro is now serving hot, customized pasta items. And that's all. Thank you.
If I may, mix and match is a major announcement. How many people are surprised that you could do that? Yeah, okay, excellent. Yes, is that a question? Wait a minute. He dropped the microphone. Wait. There you go.
I learned yesterday that you can only you have to, if you're going to cash in your $15 credit, it was everything at once, and then it was 2 only each time you visited, and now it's down to you can do a breakfast and a lunch, but you have to come back. You have to make 2 trips to do that. So that was interesting and fine. It's just that it's awkward to get educated about that from the staff themselves. I would have appreciated if I'd already known before I showed up with my wheels, that it was going to be like that. It's fine with me. It makes a lot of sense. But this seems to be a new development, so I'm just sharing it.
So you're talking about at the bistro, right? So hang on just a second, Penny. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Explanation of that is in the minutes, which you should all have from your reps or in the resident council packet. But I agree, it was a last minute decision, and the dining folks have not, found a way other than through these minutes to see that. So thank you for your comment, and that will be noticed. The other thing that I just want to remind you about and tell you that when I came here, I really mixed and matched a lot, and I just assumed it was okay. And when I ate with other people and got to know them, a lot of people wouldn't even order from the left-hand side, and very few, many were surprised when I ordered, salmon on a hamburger bun. So spread the word. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the mix and match all along and never had any problem about that. But I do continue experiencing that we need a robust grapevine to keep up to speed about some of the finer details. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have an addition to the agenda or menu. Well, we've been talking about food, agenda. Don wants to talk a little bit about movies. All right. Now, we're running out of time, and we got the floor chairs, so.
Okay. Don always wants to talk a little bit about movies. So the movie committee met yesterday, and by the way, unless you have been asleep for the last 72 hours or so, and have not been in an elevator, have not looked on Touchtown, you may not know that we are in the midst of a 1939 film festival. And if that's the case, there's visit the elevator, go on the Touchtown. 1939 is widely believed to be the greatest year in Hollywood history. And that year, 10 films were nominated for the Best Picture. Academy Award, we're showing all 10 in the next 2 weeks. We have 2 down, and we have 8 to go. And I will leave you to find out what they are, because they're listed right there in any elevator you go into. We started this week on Monday morning with a wonderful documentary about that year. I think many people have told me that they loved that, and it was a wonderful setup for the rest of it. There are also people who said, I couldn't get there. And so on Saturday morning at 10:30, here in the chapel, we will show that documentary again. So I think that's up. I think that's been posted, but you hear it here and now on Saturday at 10:30. Come on and enjoy that. Okay. But the committee is never about just the present. We are also looking to the future. And next month is December, and it's Christmas time. And we thought, what are we going to do for Christmas movies? We don't want to show the same ones that we do every Christmas, because you can see those on television, blah, blah, blah. Okay, there are 5 Saturdays in December. And so we have a somewhat different lineup. The first Saturday, we're going to show Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. If you haven't seen that, that's like no other Christmas movie you will ever see. It's a joy. On the second Saturday night, we will show a movie. Actually, I've never seen it. It's called It Happened on Fifth Avenue. And I won't even tell you what it's about. Just come watch it. On the third Saturday, we're showing A Christmas Story. One of my favorites about a little boy who wanted a BB gun for Christmas, and that's where the fun started. And finally, the British tour de force ensemble, Love Actually. And then finally, the last Saturday night of December, we turn to a New Year's movie. Actually, it's a holiday, every holiday of the year, called Holiday Inn, with Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. That's reason enough to come. So, as always, the movie committee is ginning up new ideas. In January, we're going to select a great actress and bring you some of her greatest films and performances. Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. It's 20 after. Brief floor reports, please. Cove East, Denise. There you go.
Okay.
Why don't you come over here and stand on the camera gets you. All right?
Great. That's what I'm going to be on
camera. It's on the floor.
X marks the spot. Okay. Megan, Reggie said something about Cove East having a vacant apartment. We don't. I think he meant Cove West.
Okay.
When in his report.
Later.
That's okay. We'll take care of it later.
Okay. All right. We have a full house. We have all our apartments are full. Let's see. We appreciate Linda's earthquake preparedness presentation to us, and she will be doing it again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So if you missed the first round, because she wasn't here, come to that. We found out there's some new recycling rules, so we're trying to get ourselves up to speed on that. And we have a night guard, which we're very happy. One of our residents whose dog likes to go out in the middle of the night, I think met him. And I don't know if Elaine wants to talk about the construction project that we get to watch now. We're hoping to get some input from the consultant or the contractor to find out what we're going to have to look at for the next couple of years. Okay, other than that, Cove East is moving along.
Thank you. Elaine Cove West.
Good morning. I was going to make my report short and sweet, and I can make it very short because I was going to mention the construction project. I'll just add one thing. As we understand it, they're going to be constructing 4 individual buildings, each having 4 townhouses, so a total of 16 units. And so, yeah, we're watching that happen. As for the sweet part, Cove West is having a Thanksgiving celebration, which is going to be a pie party. And combined with that, we are going to be collecting items for the food bank. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sheila, 10th floor. She's right there. Here she comes. You can just stand right there because the camera's got you. Maybe not. Come on, come on, come on. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll make it short too. I just have couple of corrections, I guess, to what Frank said about the refrigerator on the 10th floor, and that's that it. Oh, hi, camera. Okay. So it's not really our refrigerator. Our things should be put in our own refrigerators or on our floor for refrigerators if you have them. That's not really for all of us to use. It's for people who rent or sign up to use the party room. Because sometimes people have an ice cream social, they want a lot of room, or they have a nice Baskin & Robbins birthday cake. They need room to put it in. So anyway, I would just ask you to take whatever might be yours out, and then the rest will be discarded. I think and also to announce this in your floor meetings so that people know, in case you all know, but they don't. I think that's it. Yeah, so we're fine. We have 2 vacant units, and we're waiting to see. We understand they sell them before they decide what to do with them, but we aren't sure. Other than that, everything's fine on 10.
Great. Thank you. Jean, from the 9th floor. The reason we're having people come up here is because this gets replayed on channel 370 every night at 7 o'clock for the next week. 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
Thank you. Okay. The 9th floor, I just want to comment that I think the new protocol for getting things done around here, where the floor chairs have a meeting and get the concerns of the residents on the floors, and then take them to the council, and the council then takes them to Reggie, I feel like our floor feels is working pretty well. So that's a real positive in how things are getting done around here, and things seem to be getting done pretty well. So I have nothing else except to welcome our new residents in 922. As you have said, I will not look right at them, so they are embarrassed, but it's Gail and Jay Winberg. And so if you see them around, they're wearing their name tags. Oh, they are raising their hands. So there they are. You want to stand up so everybody can see you? Thank you very much. Welcome. So if you see them around, please welcome them and maybe have dinner with them too. Thank you.
Okay, great. Liz? Liz Wagner from the 8th floor.
That's a long walk for a very short report. Fred Adair moved to the Empress. So we now have 2 one-bedroom units and 2 studio units open. And we definitely agree that the process is working well.
Okay, Jim, are you doing the report? Come on up. And Jackie, is Jackie here?
The 7th floor has a new resident moving in the 13th of this month. Dinah Hartley is her name. And Dinah will probably not sleep here till about the 15th. It's going to take her several days to get her stuff in there. But she's a pretty active person, according to Ariana. She's got 2 cats. She does come from the Reventa area, so she'd be familiar with the area here. We have 2 other vacancies that are being worked on. I know they're being worked on because they're right across the hall from us. And they should be ready to go in a couple of months. And I understand they do have some people lined up for them, but that hasn't been announced yet. That's it.
Thank you. Molly? 6th floor.
6th floor welcomed a lovely lady a few days ago. Her name is Elfrida Bruce. It's a different spelling, but that's how you pronounce it, like Bruce, only it's Bruce. And she moved in just a few days ago, and she was here earlier. I'm sorry she isn't here so she could raise her hand. But you'll get to know her soon, I'm sure. The other thing is we continue to have our game night. Suzanne Rice has worked hard on that, and it's the last Friday of every month at 7 o'clock, and everyone's welcome. We've had some wonderful guests from other floors, so we welcome anyone who'd like to join us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Molly. Here comes Laurel for the 5th floor.
Fifth floor has been pretty stable. We are probably going to be losing our good friend Carol Beach to assisted living after she heals from her broken ankle. So we'll have a studio. It's a small studio. And we still have a 1 bedroom and a deluxe studio that have been available. Other than that, nothing to report. I did want to say about the freezer when we cleaned out our floors, and we just have the freezer, we don't have the refrigerator part. But the oldest sell-by date I saw was 1995. So let's see if any floors can beat that.
That's really great. Oh, Eileen. Do you have something to say, Eileen? Okay. Assisted living, 4th floor.
Assisted living. Well, we continue to put our emphasis on getting the dining room up to speed. Things are improving. There are a number of council members who are going to come for dinner next week. No one's been able to come up till now because the floor chair was doing some health things, so she was unavailable. But people will start coming and are very much welcome to come and see how things are in the dining room. There's much that has to be done, but it's underway and improving. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. And thanks to all of you. It's been a long, informative meeting, I think. And I want to let you know, because a couple of people have asked, yes, we will be having an assembly in December. All right? Do I hear a motion for adjournment? Anybody in favor? Thank you very much. We are adjourned.